Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast. We talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. Today we are talking comic book collectibles we collect. I'm Blade O'Neill.
I'm Ken Brown.
I'm Lance O'Neill.
All right, thanks for the ASMR intro there, Lance.
You're welcome.
Ken, welcome back. We missed
glad to be back. It's been a busy few weeks. The stores reopened and trying to return to a normal schedule again after having a whole 1 month and then another 3 weeks off. It's kind of getting back in the swing of things. Quite a challenge, but finally feeling like I'm hitting the.
Yeah, and I'm sure DC changing their day did not help that at all.
Yeah, DC is like they're kind of left the spaceship and kind of when you're the TIE fighters leaving the ship of the big battleship with all the other TIE fighter pilots and everybody's still there. It's like they went off into their own direction to chase after the Millennium Falcon on their own all by themselves. And like the rest of the publishers of the TIE fighters are staying in formation with Diamond and, this one TIE fighter, maybe it's Darth Vader going on his own trying to, go after Luke and forget what the Emperor's plan is. He's going after Luke whether the Emperor likes it or not. Well, that's kind of what DC's doing right now.
If it's Vader, they'll get away with it. But if it's TIE fighters, they're not going to get away with it. So I guess it remains to be seen whether or not DC is a rogue TIE fighter or Darth Vader.
I'm going to have to go with the TIE fighter for that one.
But we got...
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but I'm pretty impressed so far that they're actually packing things not to be damaged.
Great.
And things are arriving early, which is interesting too as well. And then they're kind of still ironing out some wrinkles. Like when it comes to invoicing, they're still kind of learning their way around making sure that it gets to be easily done for us to get that number that we need to have ready for CODs when they arrive. And so I've been emailing back and forth. Unfortunately, there's no direct phone number to call them. You just have to do everything through email correspondence, which is kind of new to me because I like, conversation, not just waiting for the email to come back to the response and see if they answered the question I was looking for. Or it's a learning experience for them. So we're being as patient as possible and we're being understanding with them. And they seem to be really understanding with us. It's just trying to get that communication gap on the right track so we know what we're supposed to be doing and we know what to expect from what they will be doing as a comic shop.
Well, it's great. As long as the books are coming in, right? It's all good. There'll be some growing pains, and hopefully in the end, this it'll be good for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's it too. Like as Lunar as a whole, I'm kind of impressed with DC as a company. I feel they're really trying to hit some kind of budget that is irregardless of what's going on in comic shops during the pandemic. So it's very interesting. That's something I'm trying to figure out on my own. I've seen any reports on the internet other than some hearsay and rumors, but DC seems to be really trying hard to cheer as they can for the year. And it's kind of interesting what their play is and what may be happening by the end of 2020.
Well, AT&T's in a lot of debt right now, so that's probably part of the problem.
Yeah, and I kind of see logically they see more opportunity to make money off of DC Comics as a franchise property where they lease it out to another publisher and they get money that way where they still have characters. Hasbro doesn't make their own comics. They have IDW make the comics for them. So they start treating DC more like a property more than actually comic book publishing.
Yeah, and I think that's a little apparent with there seems like there's a lot of deals going on with HBO right now with them because they keep announcing things. Like first it was the Snyder cut, and now they're talking about there's a Gotham PD spinoff coming to HBO Max and there's apparently more shows, in the works as well. Like they're realizing kind of what I think Marvel was kind of starting to do. What was it in the 90s, early turn of the century when they started licensing out their properties for things like movies, like you can make a lot of money there,
Yes.
So if there's money to be made, they're going to go after it.
Absolutely. And I said too, like if they turn over the development of comic books to another comic book creating company, then you don't have to pay the creators, you don't have to pay the marketing, you don't have to pay the publishing, you don't have to pay the, the internet side of things. of the digital production of it. It's pure like, okay, here's how much we're charging. Is anybody open to paying it? And
Marvel might.
Yeah, that would be. Can you imagine if Marvel got a hold of this? I mean, I think it's going to be possibly, a different publisher altogether. I mean, even, I don't know exactly who it's going to end up being, but I could see Panini stepping in the ring because Panini's never done American comics before. Yet they're already publishing comics internationally all around the world. And they're in all kinds of foreign languages. And Panini just took over the sports card market of football cards and basketball cards. And I think does Topps still have anything to do with baseball cards, Lance?
I know Topps does do baseball still. Okay. But the baseball card, a lot of the whole sports card industry is just not it anymore. Nobody cares about baseball cards anymore. It's kind of sad. Yeah. It's all about memorabilia. It's autographed jerseys, or that's where the money's made now in the sports world. But I mean, it's still there, but it's not what it was. That's for sure.
I know print runs have been cut drastically on sports cards, and they're trying to bring back the market through collectability, kind of like what the comic market did afterwards, going from 2000 forward in the comic book industry. There's a lot of what I see online box breaks where people open the box and they do like YouTube videos of seeing like what cards they got and did they get what they call hits, kind of like sure, I don't know if you've been familiar with sports cards in the past too, but like where, oh cool, Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, but now like a hit is like a $3,000 card. Do you know what I mean? And It's kind of the market is completely dynamically changed. And
I've pulled one of those, by the way.
Did you? Nice, dude.
That's why I was smiling. I was waiting for him to say it.
Yeah. I bought one pack from Walgreens.
Yes.
In 2009, there was because Griffey's rookie year was 89, and that was his rookie card. But they did a buyback. They bought back 89 of his rookie cards, and they had him autograph it and number it, and they put it back into the 2009 set. And it was 20th. Cool. So it was a 20th anniversary Griffey rookie card that's autographed by Griffey and signed and numbered. So we bought one pack, and I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Imagine if I pull one. I opened the pack. Boom, it was right there. I was like, holy crap.
That is awesome.
So it just at some random Walgreens in upstate New York. Just pulled one out of 89, signed. And I already had a rookie, Griffey card. So it was just now I have an autograph one.
That is awesome. Talk about a hit. That's a huge hit. That's a home run.
Yeah, it was a big one.
I love
it. I did sell it. Yeah, bought myself a batting cage.
That's awesome. But I can see Panini, being a company that is on the fringe that already knows publishing in a pretty intense way and understands the process of publishing comic books already internationally. And then obviously the collectible market where it's already been involved with sports cards for years and years as well. So just a thought as like an outside of the box thought I haven't heard anybody say yet as a publisher that could get into the American comic market and nobody would be like, oh no, Marvel's doing DC books, or oh no, IDW is going to ruin it. But Panini's already published both DC and Marvel comics before internationally, and it would be a pretty easy transition for them to take over that marketplace.
Either that or it'll be somebody like Mark Cuban just comes in and just buys them. And
yes, can you imagine? That would be.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mark Cuban joins the Avengers. Or joins the Justice League. He's like it's like, I'm the new Maxwell Lord. I'm Mark Cuban. Give me my cigar.
Absolutely. Well, we got an exciting episode today. We thought we'd touch on some of our collectibles. I know we've talked about this in the past, and there's a couple of fun little things coming up too. So we thought do a little bit of the past and a little bit of the future today. And if you are watching this on YouTube, we have a video version of this podcast. Because everything we're going to be showing, it's more fun to see. We'll do our best to describe everything here. But if you're interested in seeing what we're talking about, head on over to our Nightcap Chat YouTube to kind of see what we're talking about. I guess I'll go first since I'm in it here. You can already kind of see it. So this is both an old and a new prop. But this whole series, this whole line is super cool. And I'm so glad Marvel or Hasbro released this for the Marvel Legends lines. And recently obtained the Captain America shield. So, and this thing is full on wearable. Like, look at the back of this. Like, it even looks like in the movie, you know, we got looks like the vibranium and you got the straps, you know. This particular one, there's two paint jobs you can get. This one is the one based on the comic book. It's a little brighter, like the white is white here and the red is just like regular red and regular blue. But these came out a few years ago and they sold out. Oh, and then here we go. And Lance has the other one. This one's based on the movie.
Based on the movie.
So you see it's a little more metallic.
It's like silver paint.
The molds are exactly the same, but it's more silver, you know, in the white stripe, and you can kind of see the difference back to back.
The star is also, I think, a little more embossed, I believe.
Yeah. But they're the same mold.
Same mold, the back's the same, has the straps.
That's awesome.
It's fun to wear. It's a cool display piece. But really, like excuse me, just one second here. The whole line is incredible, and one of my favorite pieces from there is of course, the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, and it's wearable. It is too big, but I mean, ever since I read, you know, Infinity Gauntlet, I didn't read it when it first came out. I mean, I probably read it, you know, early 2000s, but to me, like the prop to have was the Infinity Gauntlet, you know. You know, it's super easy to display. You can put it right on your desk.
And I know when this came out, me and you were having the discussion about, you know, like what we'd pay for it. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh, $300 easy. And then it was like $99. I was like, yeah, I'm buying that. And that's not even a question.
Yep. 100%.
Light up, dude. That's insane.
Yeah. Every time I go into my comic book room, I can't help but push the button and just let it sit there and glow for a little bit.
And the whole hands, everything moves.
Oh yeah. So so the fingers lock into place with this little hidden switch. So you can display it like a fist. You can literally move each finger individually.
I love the metal sound effects too.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, you can't snap it. I think that's the one thing that, like,
that's the one downfall is you can't snap.
I think that was the safety level. Someone could try to destroy the universe. Safety precautions. We don't want anybody figuring out how this works.
Yeah, absolutely. My first collectible from the series though was Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. It's just fun to pick it up and feel worthy. I will say, like, it feels a little flimsy. You know, I wouldn't recommend banging on it. I don't know if you can see that. You see how kind of like bends a little bit if you really push on it. But it looks good. You know, I really wouldn't recommend hitting anything with this. It does have light up and sound effects. You can feel like you have lightning. But it's just cool to display with the rest of them. You know, you feel like you have Odin's weapons vault, you know, like, but it's in your collectible room or your comic book room or wherever you display your collectibles, you know.
That was epic. Cool thing about that too is, like, they look so great and people go out there and cosplay at conventions.
Oh yes.
Those props, like, they're actually props you can bring with you to the show.
100%.
Awesome. Yeah.
And in that same line of reasoning, I'm going to show you something later that you wouldn't want to bring to a show, but these so far, like, they're safe, you know, to bring to a show. Like, they're plastic, you know, you don't have to worry about them actually being dangerous. Like, that's another plus as well.
And I'm gonna piggyback on you since I'll stick with the Marvel Legends one, you know.
Yeah. He's
I'm not gonna be able to hear you guys. So.
He's taking off his headphones here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where'd Lance go? We got Iron Man here. That is awesome. We got special guest Iron Man on the show today.
It's cool how the eyes glow. Can you still see through it when the eyes glow? Oh, that's right. He can't.
Trying to remember how to take it off. And I can't remember. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, there we go. Like, how do you take this off? That's pretty cool, you know?
Yes, that is epic.
That is really
Very cool.
It's just awesome. It feels so cool. I've sat in my house and just like watched TV like this. It's just, you feel like Iron Man, you know?
Like, this is how Tony Stark would watch TV.
That mask would be great for NFL players afraid of COVID during the season.
Yes.
During the regular season coming up.
Absolutely.
Or even Major League Baseball too, dude. The batting helmets. COVID-proof helmets.
The batting helmet's way more comfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this thing's just so cool.
It is cool.
And you can adjust how bright the eyes are. It goes like super bright and then like kind of bright and not that bright.
So freaking epic.
Yeah, this thing is so cool. They have a Black Panther one. I was going to bring it down, but it's basically the same exact thing. The eyes glow and same thing.
Dude, I need to start getting into these props more. Those are awesome.
They're super cool.
This thing's great.
Hey, dude.
You know, usually you get it for 100, but like Captain America shield was on sale at GameStop for like $80.
For $80, yeah. I actually just bought Thor's hammer because it's the only one I'm missing.
Yeah.
From the set, except for Ant-Man and Star-Lord, but I just don't care about those. It was $80 on Amazon. There was only like 10 left, so I bought one.
Yeah, they must have reissued those as well, because the Cap shield and the Thor's hammer and the Iron Man hammer, like they all sold out during the first run. Like Hasbro was smart enough about it to do a reissue recently. And
they were going for a lot on Amazon. They were like, it was like $300 for Cap shield. It was insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a super cool series. Ken, what you got first?
Man, dude, I gotta go home and rethink my life after those three.
They're obtainable. You know, it's nothing. Well, you know, they're not crazy.
Well, this is the year. Speaking of like, kind of like redirecting it to relevance of something coming up, I guess.
Yeah.
That is connected to, guess what I'm going to show. You know, because this has kind of been my dream past 5 years, because the symbiote has now become focus of.
You cut off for a second. The symbiote's become what?
The focus of the Marvel Universe with Noel and Thor. Jason Aaron introducing more or less Noel and his Thor run, and now Donny Cates running with Symbiote God, wanting to make it a symbiote Earth.
Yep.
So there's going to be a big Marvel crossover that was announced this week that is going to be the kind of the follow-up to Absolute Carnage. I can't remember the name for the crossover yet, but Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman did a post online kind of advertising the big event coming at the end of the year, and it starts in November. But that being the case, I've been a symbiote fan since 1984, the first year the symbiote ever appeared.
Yeah.
And as a kid, one of my favorite toys was the symbiote Spider-Man Secret Wars with S.H.I.E.L.D. figure.
Is that the original one?
Yes, that's where it all started. And if you think that's kind of cool, you know, every kid that grows up always wants the original toys in a package, right? Well, sure enough, here's how it looked in the package.
Oh, that's a real one?
Yes, that is the real one.
Oh,
and I wish I could get the glare off of there, but I got those what are the AFA cases that aren't rated.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want to send my figures away because I like them too much. It's kind of sad. I got like a personal emotional attachment with my toys.
No,
I get it.
You're in the right company.
But because I'm such a dork and love the symbiote Spider-Man, when the Gentle Giant one came,
yes. Oh my goodness.
The Gentle Giant one, because what's better than a small Spider-Man 3-3-inch, a 12-inch Spider-Man Secret Wars figure takes the Gentle Giant, and it's cool because they even did the package as close as they could.
Wow.
You can see the back of this here too.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
They even tried replicating the original packaging, and I just think that's the coolest thing. When the only thing they couldn't, I guess, get the rights to was the shield. Maybe that was a Mattel exclusive. Do you know what I mean? Like where they could use the mold, but they couldn't use technology shields with these figures.
Yeah.
But the symbiote, I'm sure you guys have all heard me talk about over again, has had a special affection. And so anytime like a symbiote thing comes, I try to collect and like including over the years too, the original.
Yeah, those are cool.
I'm sure you guys have seen these before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are cool.
That's the original Marvel Legends line, right?
Yes, it is. Before Legends even started, they did Spider-Man Classics prototypes of the Legends.
Oh, no kidding.
They did so well. The Legends line came out because they had 4 different Spider-Man ones, and all of them sold really well. I mean, I could care less for 6-armed Spider-Man.
Wow.
That you see here.
Yeah.
But even that must have sold well enough for them to decide to go full all Marvel.
Wow.
And this is pre-Hasbro. This was still when it was Toy Biz, before Hasbro bought the license away from Toy Biz back in the early 2000s.
Wow.
And that comic in there, I'm sorry, I'm kind of going a little bit overboard, but I collect Canadian price variants. And this is a Spider-Man 252 Canadian price variant.
Wow.
Which I'm sure everyone's always seen the regular 252.
Yes.
Let me see if you can see on there. Can you see the price on
70, it? So it's 75, and then I can't see the little symbol next to it, but yeah, that's the Canadian symbol.
The regular is 60 cents for the American comic.
Okay.
So SA2 is like that blade said I could kind of stick with the theme. So I guess here's some of the things too. With the theme is it's fun to collect different types of original art of your favorite characters.
That's original art?
Yes, this is done by Andy Carrion. He's a local artist, actually, so you can look him up anywhere online.
Oh, yeah.
Looks almost cover quality.
Yeah,
100%. He does for you. And he's very, I can't speak for his pricing, but he's very affordable in my eyes for what he produces as art for you. And those are always really fun to get too. Is like this one's by Joel Gomez, who is a artist who works on currently on Del Morte. Like it's Lady Death in Mexico.
Yeah.
Dia de Morte, is that it? Dia de Morte, am I saying that right?
I honestly, like, I'm not familiar with Spanish pronunciations, but it sounds close enough that I think you're correct, and I know it's a reference to like Day of the Dead.
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
That comic was really cool because they did it upside down.
Yes,
and they gave him the spider sense thing, the little like spider sense symbol over his head.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and that's kind of cool because you don't see that too often on like covers where like he's like the spider sense thing going off.
I think it's awesome.
And what a weird thing that like we recognize that's what that is. You know what I mean? Like somebody decided that is going to be like the symbol for like, I sense something's coming. And then like, it just, now we all know that that's what that is. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
I think it's also kind of an iconic thing that you recognize with Spider-Man. You associate with Spider-Man. Then Jason Worthington, our store manager at our store, I got this from his booth. And I'm going, oh my gosh, dude! It's like his art is so freaking amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, this is gonna be out taking over Spider-Man. His spider senses, like, what's going on? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I kind of love that. Like when I see stuff like that, I'm going, that just calls out to me. I mean, I'm more of a black suit Spider-Man fan than a red and blue Spider-Man suit fan, which is kind of weird because that's the iconic, Spider-Man's red and blue.
Yeah.
But just seeing the combo of both costumes together there. And like it just overtaking the red and blue suit. I said too, like Jason Worthington just hit it like 110%. Because some of the stuff you could see is like would be cover quality, but you don't have to pay like thousands of dollars to the big names to get like an awesome looking cover. And I mean, this one too, the Rick and Morty artist Mike Vasquez. We've kind of become, talking to him at conventions. He's a really cool guy. And say, hey, dude, can you do a black suit Spider-Man with my favorite Alpha Flight character, Guardian? And do you know what I mean? Like, who asked for that? Nobody. You're never going to see that on a comic together. Symbiote Spider-Man and Guardian of Alpha Flight.
Absolutely.
It's just not going to exist. So it's kind of fun to be able to create things that you love as a fan and put it on to your own collection. That's kind of like a one of a kind, but it's not going to cost you, a full wallet of your money.
That's the great thing about the blank covers is being able to get one of your favorite artists, or just a very good artist or one of the artists she likes, and be able to incorporate, an aspect of a character or another character into a comic that you love. I think that's so awesome.
And you incorporate into your collection, you're able to support them, and especially with these like original pieces, it makes your collection unique. Cause I mean, we all may have this figure or that figure, or we collect this series, that series, but nobody's going to have those exact blank covers drawn on by those artists with that specific art. You know, like
man, you make me want to go get some my blank cover.
That's fun though. That's my favorite parts of conventions for a while, was going just to see some of the creators that you recognize in Artist Alley, but nobody really has heard of yet. Mm-hmm. And seeing them draw your favorite characters because you like their art and you know no one else is going to have
That's actually the only art I've had done was by an artist I've never recognized, but I loved her artwork and I just wanted her to do it. And to think she was a local artist in Phoenix. But she did a great job on this Ms. Marvel I asked her to do. I want to go find it now.
Who's the artist?
I honestly don't remember the name. It was like 7 years ago. I can't remember.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that sometime, dude.
Yeah, we'll have to get that pulled up. I mean, I thought that I had discovered Peach Momoko on my own until I didn't realize what I was looking at, and then I realized like, oh, all these people love Peach Momoko, and she's actually doing, you know, Marvel covers and variant covers and this and that. But I just came across her art on Instagram, and I loved it. Like it just, I don't know, like just you find a style that kind of speaks to you and you enjoy and you feel it's really, I don't know, like together, refined, like, I don't know, like just you dig it, you know? I would totally love to pay for her to do, a variant cover or one of the blank covers for sure. She's got a Magic variant cover. I think it was for a Strange Academy book.
Oh, okay.
You know, and it has magic on it. It's a super cool cover, and it's actually pretty affordable. I should try to pick one up soon.
Yeah, she's become like the hottest going artist in the market right now during the summer. I mean, it's no pun intended because it's summertime, but she's just on fire right now.
Yeah, and I thought I discovered something unique, but you know, I didn't. And you know, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad she's getting the recognition she definitely deserves. All right, keeping in line with my replicas theme. This is a bit of a deeper pull here, but you know, my name is Blade. You know, I can't help but collect Blade things. You know, like how could I not? And Blade's a cool character. Like I have first appearance of Blade. You know, I have lots of Blade memorabilia, but probably one of my favorite Blade pieces is the replica from the Wesley Snipes movies. So, United.
You got cool stuff here, guys. Hey.
So for those of you on YouTube, I'm pulling it out of the sheath here. So United Cutlery had the Marvel replica rights, but this thing is solid. It's solid metal. It's not supposed to be sharp, you know, per the description, but it is freaking sharp. Let me tell you, you can hurt yourself with this. But the handle is all metal. Here, let me maximize myself here for YouTube. Metal is solid. You know, it doesn't flick out, you know, and cut off your hand like in the movies, but I mean, it's you know, it's a real blade.
How many vampire kills do you have with that so far?
Right.
Blade?
You know, I've before conventions were you know, very strict on what you could bring in. I cosplayed Deadpool once, and I brought this in. I had this on my back, and I wore it, and I just, you know, I had it, you know, one pieced or zip tied or, you know, whatever you're supposed to do. But this is a super cool piece. I have it on a little display, you know, within my comic book room. You know, it's a unique piece. Like I don't see a lot of people talk about the United Cutlery replicas because they also did his, you know, his little thing he used to throw. The glaive or whatever it's called, but like it was little blades, and so like they had that. And they had his stakes before. Like I never got around to getting those. But they also did Elektra's Sai from the movies. I think it was the same. I'm pretty sure it was the same makers for the Elektra's Sai. I could be wrong on that.
Did they do Wolverine claws too? Blades? Is that the company that did the Wolverine claws that came out around the first X-Men movie or
probably like that was the right era. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was United Cutlery. Because I want to say, I don't know if it was before or after that, 'cause some other weird company was doing like a Thor hammer from the comics. And and but it was like porcelain, so they were having shipping problems where they would shatter, and the cap shield was aluminum, and they were same thing. They were having shipping problems, and they were bent and dented, and
completely destroyed. Yeah.
It was really bad stuff. I think that same company also did Stormbreaker based on the Beta Ray Bill one. So it was a small gold one. But, like I said, my name is Blade. I had to have the Sword of the Daywalker, and I've got that, displayed with my, my Blade statue and some of my other Blade collectibles.
Super cool.
That is awesome. I just feel like I just not. Anyway, I'm gonna do my next one.
All right.
Okay, so mine is a little more towards comic-y. Mm-hmm. I didn't even tell you about it, Blade, because I just found it. I was like, oh yeah, this would be something that's really cool, because it's like I didn't really want to show comics because like I know we're kind of keeping comics for the big name comics for another day. But I have an original art.
Love original.
From the comic printing.
Oh wow!
Oh,
that's cool. For the original page.
So the original page they used to print the comic.
Oh, you have a comic page.
Yeah, from Tales of Suspense 40. So Iron Man's second appearance.
Are you serious?
Are you kidding me?
So this is a page out of that comic.
How did you come across that?
On eBay.
Wow.
And then on the back, it has it in color.
Wow. That's awesome.
So this is when he had the gold suit, which was like the next one, right? He went from the silver, then he made it gold, and then he had it for one or two comics, and then he ended up going to the classic red.
So what is this exactly? This is
what they use to print this page on Tales of Suspense 40.
Okay.
So they use this.
So it's not the pencil art. It's part of the process, right?
It's part of it's part of this is what they used to make the comic.
Gotcha.
Like the color guide screen cell, or is it the color? No, it's like the actual printing cell, right?
Yeah, it's how they use it to print it.
That's awesome. That's so crazy.
So this is kind of cool. You can kind of see it play out. It's hard to describe it for those of you not on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's
basically a page of Tales of Suspense 40 on a piece of plastic, covered in plastic, on kind of like those sheets that they used to use in school where they would have the projector and there was that piece of plastic that you drew on and it would project onto the. It's kind of like that's what's on here. It's just covered, protected in a plastic.
Huh. Wow.
It's like an animation cell for a comic book, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, Mr. Injured here.
No, if I open my mouth and look a specific direction to my right, I get shooting pains down my shoulder.
Oh my gosh.
If you open your mouth and look to the right, you get pain in your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So
sometimes when I'm talking and I move my head this way, I'm trying not to do it. It just happens shooting pain. So I try to stay looking forward or to my left.
Wow. How interesting.
Yeah,
fun fact about Lance here. All right, Ken, what you got for us next?
Well, it's like this week also G.I. Joe Snake Eyes new miniseries comes out. And later this year, or maybe you've already passed, I don't know. Continuum has kind of been broken in the year 20.
Yep.
But there's supposed to be a Snake Eyes movie in the theaters coming sometime in the near future.
Yes.
Well, this year there is the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes miniseries that comes out this Tuesday, drawn by our friendly friend Rob Liefeld.
All right.
Yep. Comic for fans, have at it. I have none, but that's all right. And but I'm a huge Snake Eyes fan. As you can tell, I'm not. Yep, dude. Exactly. Luckily, there's this is kind of like my image here. I felt No hands, no feet. That's not to rip on Rob Liefeld because he'll block me on Twitter, even though we don't. That's okay. I've got to stop. I promise I wouldn't go down this road. This is about Snake Eyes, not about Mr. Liefeld. Thank you for Snake Eyes.
I rubbed my eyes too hard. It made everything blurry.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Anyway, I've been a huge Snake Eyes fan. I don't know if it's a thing as a kid, like anything like a ninja Spider-Man costume so much because it's very ninja look. And watching, ninjas as a kid, what kid from the 80s did not watch Karate Kid, did not like Snake Eyes? Do you know what I mean? Did not like Storm Shadow. Just something about the martial art, ninja magic was just unbelievable back in the 80s. Again, became a Snake Eyes fan. Well, they just released a 6-inch G.I. Joe line recently, too, as well. G.I. Joe.
Called G.I. Joe what?
Classified. And they released a Snake Eyes. And let me see here. Okay. Here is what the new Snake Eyes. And it is freaking badass, dude. It's got all kinds of weaponry there. I know I'm sorry for see this, because this is by far one of the most amazing Snake Eyes produced at 6-inch scale.
Is this a Hasbro figure?
Yes. And so now you can have your Star Wars Black and your Marvel Legends and your G.I. Joe all diorama together and have a BA battle out there.
Yeah.
And real American Marvel, Star Wars, Empire hero. I mean, this is unbelievable. I hope you guys
that has like 2 guns.
Yes.
Dude, a sword, a knife, and a backpack, right?
Yes. And I'm still waiting. There was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive that comes in a box set that has a diorama that fits behind it. I've not yet. Yeah. These are actually available at regular retail. There was one that was $29.99 that was available through Hasbro that came in a sweet-looking box, and that was the announcement of the line. Here on the back side of it here, too, as well, they use, like, real comic artists to do the work on the packaging, too. Like, on the back, I'm pretty sure that's Clayton Crane's art.
That's the poster for Infinity War.
I was about to say that's an Infinity War poster, but with G.I. Joe characters.
Yeah, so I can't wait. I don't know if they're going to do 6-inch line vehicles because I can't imagine a craft carrier that's 15 feet. You know what I mean, to make this thing work?
Yeah.
Or the Cobra Rattler where these things would fit in. I mean, because those vehicles were BA enough as kids. Imagine an adult now, that scale, how it felt in our hand as a kid. That's going to be the scale of us as an adult now, that exact same size and feel we had as a kid in our
Yeah, I thought that'll be expensive.
And so since we're going into the new, I kind of got to stick back through G.I. Joe Snake Eyes through time. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And just one comment on that, like the packaging for this new Snake Eyes, it really reminds me of what they did for their Power Rangers line. The very square, but the art is really cool and it's clean and it's really slick, and Hasbro's just been killing it with their new packaging for sure.
Absolutely, they know how to reach both the kid that grew up collecting their product and making them that. Hey, I really hope that they keep pricing at a point where parents will still buy the stuff for their kids, because that's going to keep the generations going from year to year. Kind of like me, like growing up with G.I. Joe as a kid, 3 3/4 inch, now wanting the new stuff as an.
Yep.
This 100%. Was the 25th anniversary Snake Eyes. I don't know where's the good place to get this, the sweet spot. Okay. But I don't know if you guys remember this line coming out. This line came out about 2005, 2006. I'm sorry, it would be 2007 because it was 25th anniversary. So 1982 when G.I. Joe started.
Wow.
And this was commemorating the 3 3/4 inch figures. And this was the Snake Eyes. The cool thing about this, too, is they did silver foil on it for the first waves.
Wow.
And eventually they went to, like, more or less just the white print on there.
Yeah, that's cool.
We skipped there to the 25th anniversary, which is really cool. And they did it like the original Joes when they first came out. They had it grayed out where you weren't sure which figures were produced next. And so that was a cool homage towards the original G.I. Joe collectors collecting as adults, too, as well, which was really kind of big. And, of course, the whole file card, you had the flag points, everything that was very original to the 1980s Joes.
Wow.
Which kind of brings me back to, since we're looking at 1980s Joes, this is one of my favorite pieces in my collection, toys. It's the original 1980s Snake Eyes with
my
Wolf.
Goodness.
Oh, that's cool.
which to me was like one of those bucket list things I had to take off the list before it got too expensive.
Yeah, look at that art. Look at that art.
That art is really cool.
Absolutely. That's part, I think, why the reason I like G.I. Joe figures so much as a kid is like comics and the art on this packaging pulls to comic book fans like there's no tomorrow, because the Star Wars figures, remember, all had photo shots from the movies. Like G.I. Joe, their toy line, they put actual artists that they commissioned into making great looking products to pull out kids' attention.
Yep.
Then on the back too, once again, the gray file card. This is the second release edition of Snake Eyes.
Okay.
The original one of the Snake Eyes with the original logoing where there was no.
Where there the original logo, what?
They were the front of the logo. The original version release of this was not embossed. It was not the silver embossing. It was more black.
Okay.
Look on it where you can read G.I. Joe on it.
Okay.
Like this one, the original, this other one, the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's more printed in a way that is flat rather than a like 3D looking logoing.
Wow.
Well, the original Snake Eyes release of this had that. On the back of it was a peach file card rather than this one's a gray file.
Okay.
It's still about equally collectible. Some really diehard Snake Eyes fans will pay extra to get the original peach file card, but the price of this figure now is hitting into four figures, which is pretty crazy.
What?
Yeah. So G.I. Joe fans have become like really eccentric in completing the collections now. And I think a lot of it comes from those Netflix shows, The Toys That Made Us, because I've seen a lot of toys just jump up from the 80s to astronomical rates over the past 3 years since that show's hit the air. I think that Toy Hunter with Jordan Hembrough was another too, because he'd always broadcast the values of what he found versus what he spent on it. And it just made a huge new awareness to, oh, wow, dude, all these toys from the 80s have been played with. It's almost impossible to find them in the package. And the market, just like collectible comics, just took off in the toy market. Same thing's happened in video game markets. Did you see that news this week that someone paid like $140,000 for?
They paid $140,000 for what?
Super Mario Brothers, the original Nintendo game in the package. Isn't that insane? And that's a common game. That was probably one of the most produced games you would think of all time. But they got one of the earliest releases, still sealed in the cellophane, and someone paid $140,000 out of it.
Wow,
it's all on the internet. It's insane.
Well, it's like, why wouldn't you open it? You know?
Exactly, that's true. Who didn't get a Nintendo and open the Super Mario Brothers? Right?
Yeah, it's like, I didn't want this for Christmas.
Exactly. So that was pretty crazy. And then, of course, the most famous Snake Eyes comic, G.I. Joe number 21, which was the first all-silent comic book. There was no talking, and it was Snake Eyes' first meeting with Storm Shadow. And so it's Storm Shadow's first appearance, but it was also the first ever comic book with no words telling the story. And Larry Hama just, hit it out of the park of one of the most memorable comic books in not only comic book history, but G.I. Joe history too as well. Wow, and just awesome. The last kicker too, if you look at the price on it, in America, it's 60 cents. You got the
Canadian.
75 cents.
Canadian
that to me is a lot of fun, is finding different variations of stuff that you usually don't see in your everyday comic.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you're not going to see that in my everyday comic shop either, but because it's too hard for me to come by, and I can share it with you guys, but I can't sell it.
Yep. Yeah. Price variants are always fun.
Yeah. I love price variants.
Gives you more purpose to I got the comic I really wanted. How do I keep collecting this? Because once you have one,
it fuels the chase. I mean, it's something that it's much harder to come by. And I kind of cheated. I did find it on eBay, but if you find that, you can't pass it up. Yeah.
100%. My next thing, so it's a little new. We all know the Black Widow movie is coming out. So I know Hasbro has been trying to experiment with these higher value figures. So this, here, let me make myself bigger here. So this Black Widow Marvel Legends, it's got Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. She's in her white suit, but she comes with a ton of accessories. So more than just the, regular 6-inch figures. It's a bit of a bigger packaging here, but we got 4 extra hands aside from the hands she comes with. A set of guns, a set of, I don't even know what they are. They're like little. They're not.
Those are the things that help her like climb.
Yeah,
they're like ice things.
Yeah, like ice pick kind of things.
Ice pick, yeah.
There's little wrist blast explosion things. I don't know how to explain them, but you hook
her stingers.
Yeah, but so they're like the little explosions. I don't know how to describe it. And then there just comes with all these explosions, so you can make cool scenes and poses, and you can't see it in here, but it comes with a little like clear stand, so you can actually pose her in all these different ways. Like, I'm having a hard time not opening this. Like, I'm gonna admit to that. I do wish on the back that they made her a little more, I don't know, dynamic, because this pose in the picture in the back is a little stiff. Like, she's just kind of like a straight line here, because
it's a little awkward.
Yeah, she has a lot of articulation, because I'm not sure you can see it, but like her thighs can twist. It's not just a hip joint, but there's a whole separate section up here where the thighs can twist, you see? And then like it bends at the knees, it bends at the ankle, it bends, at the bottom of the chest. So like she has a lot of articulation. You can do a lot of really cool poses and stuff. Anyway, this is a super cool figure. I've been looking at it for a while. It's one of the things my wife got me for my birthday, so I was excited to get it. Hopefully these do. I thought they were going to sell a little more, because like they're not really selling out everywhere. So I hope Hasbro decides to do more of these, super accessorized, figures.
I think part of it's like the Black Widow movie is not out because it was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Usually I'm sure they sell a little better once the movie hits, and it's like, oh, I want that.
I hope so.
Have you seen Hasbro's new Transformer mashup push they're doing this year? It started last year with the Ecto-1 Ghostbusters car.
Yes.
And then they had the Back to the Future DeLorean mini release. It's going to have a later release. The Back to the Future out in October.
Yep.
And they also announced a Maximum Overdrive from the movie Maximum Overdrive.
The movie Maximum Overdrive, and then what you cut out?
Oh, there's and Maximum Overdrive is like a horror movie about truck driver serial killer. Mm-hmm. You guys have seen that before or not?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
The front of the truck, the semi truck, has a Green Goblin head or attached to the front of the semi. So it's a gigantic Green Goblin coming at you when this thing's coming down the freeway. And they're doing an Optimus Prime Transformer or Nemesis Transformer of that. And then today I just got a text from somebody showing me that, check this out, they're doing the Top Gun Maverick Autobot, where it's a jet that transforms into Maverick as the Autobot jet. And it's kind of like some of it's really weird and going out of the box, but it's kind of cool to see them try to do something pop culture transform.
Yeah.
And pretty interesting. I don't know what they're going to do next. Who knows?
That's so weird.
Yeah, like if they do Knight Rider, I'm on board. I can't. Kind of interesting. I could see Kit transform into a robot. I don't know. Maybe he's going to have like a Michael Knight hair.
Yeah, I tell you, that's going to come next.
Yes, if it is, they got me at the door. Got hello.
Oh, I just went, right?
Yeah. I guess I'll go. All right. So my next thing is I'm just going to do some artwork.
Nice.
Okay. He's reaching for it.
Yeah, I'm back. All right. So Greg Horn is one of my favorite artists, and I know I've already talked about him. Our favorite Comic-Con experiences. He was great. So I'm just going to share some of the work I had from him. This one,
and prints are just another great way to support, artists you love, especially, if you don't want to pay for something custom, like you're able to get prints, and they're cool display pieces,
Yeah, and like I would love for him to do a custom for me. In fact, I'm definitely thinking about it. But I bought a bunch of prints from him because I love his artwork, love all the comics he's done. So this first one is Psylocke.
Nice.
And I love his hyper like realistic, like look for like what the superheroes are in the comics and like how they would look if they were basically real. Because his artwork is so good, and her sword, and then if you can see the sword is like kind of turning to like the purple right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like the little details is really cool. Obviously my favorite character too. I had to buy every single one he did of the Black Cat. Right?
Of course.
Her swigging through New York City.
Yep.
It's just such a cool comic cover, right? And then this one I think is pretty awesome. And I'm imagining this is on a helicarrier, but you got Scarlet Witch sitting at the edge of, I'm assuming what it would be similar to like a helicarrier or something. I don't know. Oh, but it's just like
a old building.
Maybe. I don't know. She's in the clouds,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so like where else would she be sitting? It's just such a beautiful.
Well, artwork. She has probability control, so it could be anything, right?
That's true. Got another Psylocke one from him.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
So it's cool. And then these last two are my favorite too. So this is Black Cat, right?
Okay.
And she's breaking into a little
safe
with all this money and jewels and stuff. Really cool.
That's awesome.
And then this one, just super cool. It's Spider-Man taking a picture, and then you can see in the little reflection of the lens, he's taking a picture of a girl. She's a little Spider-Man. I'm assuming that's supposed to be like Mary Jane, right?
I hope.
Or just some chick with a Spider-Man tattoo. But it's just kind of a cool little picture. I love that one.
That was it's a little different.
Yeah, it's different and it's unique. But I love Greg Horde. I have one other art piece that's not Greg Horde. So I'll just figure I'd get it out of the way. It's one of my favorite pieces of art, and it's not a print, it's a painting.
Oh, wow.
That I got from, I actually got on eBay and it's printed made by Chris Cargill. But it's a painting of Black Cat.
That is epic. That's super cool.
See, like on her hair, it's all like, there's like silver textures. It's very textured. The whole thing is textured. I'm trying to get a good lighting on it so you can kind of see the silver parts that like shimmer.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But it's such a cool
piece, right?
Cool painting. Yeah. It's an original piece. It's on canvas. It's on a canvas. And you can see like, it's painted.
It pops like crazy.
It pops so well. It's such I have it as soon as you walk into my comic room, it's like staring you in the face because I just love this artwork.
That is super epic.
It's so cool.
Wow. It's very cool.
Okay.
But that's it. That's what I got. What you got? Anything else, Ken?
Man, dude. I said, dude, I'm getting upstage like crazy.
No way.
No way.
With that Snake Eyes stuff, like that was unbelievable.
Let's see, dude. I forgot to show. I did bring out some art prints too, just like that. This is one of my favorite ones.
Wow.
Black Suit Spider-Man. It's a print that's signed by both Humberto Ramos and Francisco Herrera. They split the art.
That's cool.
Ramos did the red and blue side, and Herrera, I think, did the black and white side, if I remember correctly. Yes. No, Ramos did the black and white. Herrera did the red and blue.
Okay.
My apologies on it. But yeah, Humberto Ramos was one of the first that, since Todd McFarlane, made me think the red and blue costume was on.
Yeah.
And Todd McFarlane was what kept me collecting Spider-Man as a kid. But Humberto Ramos was the guy that kind of brought me back to Spider-Man after I took a break because do you know what I mean? Like Todd McFarlane became the branded Spider-Man for all of the 90s.
Yeah. And
then towards the early 2000s, Mark Bagley designed his own Spider-Man look, which I felt was really unique in Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. But then Ramos kind of redefined the look of Spider-Man, in my opinion, too, as well, for the early 2000s. And on the other side, one of my favorite artists, J. Scott Campbell.
All right.
And that's the Stan Lee Marvel tribute.
Yep. That was on a comic cover, wasn't it?
Yes, it was on an Avengers cover as a Stan Lee. And that to me is pretty awesome too. It's actually J. Scott Campbell. I got it from his booth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And to me, like one of the coolest things. I wish I got it signed before he passed, but that was my original intention of getting it, to have it be signed by both Campbell and Lee. But I got it at the Campbell booth when Lee wasn't at the convention.
Yeah.
Of course, never brought it with me. Stan Lee was around at a convention. Just time kind of goes by, and you kind of forget what you have, what's important and what's not important. But
yeah,
it's cool to be able to at least get that J. Scott Campbell Stan Lee full color. 100%. And another one of my favorite artists who's now passed, unfortunately, is Michael Turner.
Oh, wow.
He did what they called the Renegade edition cover of G.I. Joe number 21 by Grant. Well, this art piece was so gorgeous, in my opinion, that he did a print of it that was through Dynamic Forces. And it was signed by Michael Turner and Peter Steigerwald as well, too.
Very cool.
Michael Turner is by far one of the most, I'm sure you heard me talk about Michael Turner before, one of the most modest,
absolutely
talented artists that really appreciated his fans, and what really made him his career and his way of living was the fans appreciating his art.
Wow.
Once again, me being a Snake Eyes, a Storm Shadow fan, and Michael Turner was just peanut butter and jelly all together in one art piece. So
yeah,
I had to add that to my collection too. I wanted to show with my Snake Eyes moment, but I kind of got so wrapped up in the toy section of it.
Yeah,
I forgot about the art when I had set aside.
Well, this deserves, I think, like its own thing. I mean, just it being from Michael Turner, like that's really cool. Like I only have some comic books, that he's done.
Quite a few prints from over the years of going to his booth. It was just, he was by far my favorite stop. Wow. Every time I walked into a convention, boom, Michael Turner, gotta go to the Michael Turner booth. And but that's kind of a subset. I don't know. This is not really related, but Knight Rider today, and it's not really an expensive piece, which I love, but it was still super cool when I saw it come out. You may have seen this on my Instagram.
Oh yeah.
But it is a 1/10th scale, I think, or 1/12th scale.
Okay.
Knight Rider, and the cool thing about it is,
yes,
he talks to you.
Yeah, you brought that on briefly right before, I think, right?
Did I? I wasn't sure if I did or not. You're probably right. Let's see. But inside, I don't know if I could get a good aim. But before, I had to change the batteries on it. And now we actually changed the batteries for this podcast.
Wow.
You can see the whole dashboard in there.
Right.
Lights up. And it is freaking amazing how a piece of plastic looks so cool. And for only $40, the original price, you just couldn't pass it up.
No kidding. They wouldn't make that for $40 now.
Yeah, they wouldn't. That's way.
Yeah, I think this came out 2010. If I remember correctly.
What?
The copyright of it. Yeah, this was 2012, so even newer than I thought.
Wow.
So this came out 8 years ago, and it was like, dude, the plastic is just totally shiny the way Knight Rider's intended. They didn't use flat black. He does have an ionic bonded shell. Yeah. Probably the closest thing you could see to a Knight Rider car looking as awesome as it could.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That is my 80s, one more 80s revival, since it is kind of the theme, starting with Spider-Man and Snake Eyes. Always wanted this as a kid. The Matchbox Voltron.
Wow.
Have you ever seen this before?
I don't think so.
Yes, it is actually the original Voltron toy from.
Wow.
At least the American version. It was over in Japan as early as like the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the 1984 Matchbox rendition of it, which was pretty cool, which is technically just a repackaging of the one they did in Japan.
It looks clean. Is it in good shape?
Yes, it is, dude. I got it from back in right out of college. It was like 2000, because I graduated in 99. So it was 2000. I was working for Channel 15, and I was looking for accounts. to put on the air. And of course, anytime I was in the area of Society over on, I think it was on that time 12th Street in Bethany Home before it moved up north.
Toy Anxiety,
and yes, and it was on their display, and they only wanted, again, I don't know what it is with the magic of $40, but it was only $40, and I'm back in the year 2001, 2000. Okay, couldn't get it as a kid, got to get it now. You know what I mean? So it's been in my collection ever. So it's one of those things that is just, to me, epic as it can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt about a lot of the Power Rangers collectibles that I have now, especially like the Green Ranger merchandise. Like I couldn't get as a kid; it always sold out.
Yes,
and now like they did all these re-releases and stuff, and I've got a huge collection of it now.
I wish I could show like that. See right here, even the lion still come apart. Oops, I took off the red lion's legs.
Okay.
And as I snap this off and break it, I'll like break my heart, but that's all right.
Yeah, don't break it. Don't break
please
it.
Don't. Please don't.
Oh no. We're going to add some comedy routine, right? And it's just like, it's still a functional lion. So I love about Voltron, the same thing with Power Rangers, as you said. You not only get one toy, you get 6 toys.
Mm-hmm.
You get the 5 lions if you want them individually, and you get one big robot together.
Yeah, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it was just brilliant ideas, robots that combine. I thank the great geniuses that came up with that and gave us hours of fun for a lifetime.
Yeah, no kidding. A lifetime indeed, because here we are as adults still even doing this.
Yes. Are we like the generation? There's got to be a generation name, people that love their toys through lifetimes rather than just being a kids. Because I remember growing up, my parents never showed me anything they played with as a kid. I mean, it was kind of like they were just, toys were something of their childhood and they just grew out of it. My mom a little bit, she enjoyed the Shadow she tells me about, stuff like that, but nothing to the fact of toys is fun.
I think
nothing to do with it.
I think because toys back then sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
To be honest, it was wood, like whatever,
Yeah, toys were just really boring, I guess.
I don't.
80s.
Yeah,
licensing of cartoons with the toys, maybe that made it take off.
So I see what you're saying. It's not necessarily a generational thing. It's a person thing, I think, because there is a generation where we're at, and probably older as well. Like if you look at American Pickers, or if you used to watch Antiques Roadshow, there are people who collect some of those old like tin toys.
Yes.
And some of those old, what was that famous train set?
Train or Lionel trains?
Lionel trains, it's like, but I think the difference is, there were only so many, there was the same tin stuff. And once you got to a certain generation, we started having these toy licenses like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Voltron, Power Rangers, and comic book stuff. So, I mean, toys have evolved, I don't know if it's necessarily generations, I don't know. I guess
you're right,
people.
It's just that they collected something completely different that wouldn't interest anybody now. Like nobody played, like really, like trains was a huge, like you were saying, the trains was a huge thing, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And then after that, it probably slowed down a lot. Like I didn't really grow up with any trains or anything. And really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's just what would happen to be kind of cool. And then I think, the 30s, you started getting Batman and Captain America, right? And then comics started evolving more in the 60s. And then that kind of just changed everything where like, everyone just wanted like these comic books that have toys. And then you got those things that it's not just some, this tin robot or this teddy bear or whatever, it's like, Captain America. Like it just started becoming things that people enjoyed more,
Almost like it gave identities like they were comic. Right. I think you're that kind of thing. Comic books were so popular from like the 40s to the 60s. And then the 70s, the cartoons started taking off too as well. Mm-hmm. And then the 80s, like you're right. Like remember like seeing some of those TV shows like where the Hasbro would go to Marvel and say, give these guys life, damn it, give them identity. Because in Japan, I guess they were just toys they were saying. And out here, they became Megatron. They became Optimus Prime. They were and like same with the G.I. Joe figures. They were Sergeant. We have a Ranger. Yeah. Let's give them identities besides just being their Ranger military.
Yep.
And that's where you got Snake Eyes and Stalker and Duke, Flint. So that's interesting. You're right. It's like they kind of took that whole model off. Actually, they went to comic book identity.
Mm-hmm.
If we can see it in multiple ways of like relating to it, it's going to be easier for us to want to attract to, is more or less the marketing strategy behind it. And it's still to this day.
And I'm sure part of this, during a certain time period played to the downfall of like baseball cards and stuff. Cause you had kids, back in the day collecting baseball cards. Now, like you don't see kids, trying to get a Babe Ruth card or Ken Griffey or whatever. So like, I mean, that part of that was the downfall of baseball cards too, because, our interests spread, between technology and cartoons and all of this.
That's why a lot of people think the comic book the comic book medium's in trouble because of the video game being the next generation of cool stuff. And I really don't see that as quite an issue because it kind of connects together too as well. The what?
An issue. I was pointing out a pun.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think it's an issue. I mean, like there's whether it hurts comic books or not is another story, but there's still room for comics. And they video games based on comics are a big thing, especially when they're good. And without the comics, we're not going to be really doing this, And if anything, the video games and the movies are going to garner that interest back to the comics, the people who discover it in different ways. Cause I mean, like, I'm pretty sure like what motivated me to get into comics was like the old cartoons. I saw it like, wow, this is cool. Like it was easier for like a young child to see something moving, whether it's on TV or a video game that they can interact with. And then, they can be, brought to the comics. Cause I mean, like any generation or society has their mythology, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying like we worship it or anything, but like, like you have these fun, interesting stories and lessons and adventures, and that's what comics are. Like they're a modern mythology,
And what a great way for like kids to learn how to read.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like I hated reading as a child. I could not stand reading. Like I would just get so bored, but like a comic, it was fun. It actually made it enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
I can completely relate. I mean, I'd fall asleep reading novels. I mean, I had to, obviously, for book reports and stuff like that, would be the only time I'd actually read novels. I hate saying it, but like that. And I'd get frustrated because I like detective stories because of comic books. A lot of them are more or less detective stories. And reading novels that were like trying to relate to the comics I enjoyed, I'd get frustrated because the clues, I would be looking for clues in comics. I could go back and turn to the page and see that the big reveal. Oh, dude, there's the bird seed that's shown me leading up to the big reveal in the comic story. Mm-hmm. And in novels, it'd be frustrating like that. What page was that clue on? And you can't remember what page you're going back to in a novel where some of these clues where you have to go searching for it for another 10, 15 minutes. And it kind of ruins that big reveal because you're so focused on trying to find all the lead up to it that you remember reading, but you couldn't remember where you read it inside the story. And comics have those visual cues that help you like, oh my gosh, dude, yeah, there it was. There was like, it's almost like a bonus, like the Riddler type of thing. Like, hey, can you solve the riddle before I tell you the answer? And comics are great for that type of storytelling.
Absolutely. Well, then this ran a little longer than we thought. But yeah, that's some of the fun things we collect, on social media. When you see these posts, go ahead and comment some pictures of some of the stuff you like to collect, but what are the parts of the collection that you really enjoy? Feel free to share that with us, on social media. We're at Nightcap Chat on Facebook and Twitter, and Nightcap_chat on Instagram. If you're watching us on YouTube, you see all that information in the bottom right corner of your screen here. we appreciate you all taking the time to listen and share and subscribe. If you do enjoy Nightcap Chat, leave those 5-star reviews, especially on iTunes. Tell your friends about it. Share on social media. With your support, makes this possible, and we appreciate that. This Thursday, don't forget, Paws and Soul will be on Steam. You'll hear me as one of the voices in there. Support indie game developers. Electro Stalin Entertainment's got a fun game planned for you guys. Go ahead and wishlist that. That'll be on Steam. Once again, that's Paws and Soul. Ken?
Thank you very much, you guys, for listening all tonight. It was one of the more, one of the more enjoyable. They're all fun, but this was a lot of fun tonight, I thought.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed you guys sharing with me. And that's some of the fun part about collecting with each other is sharing some of the stuff that you collect with others.
Yeah.
And Ken with Drawn to Comics. You can find us in downtown Glendale area. And not California. I get that a lot. Are you in California? No, it's Arizona.
Yes.
And but drawntocomics.com on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Drawn to Comics. And we appreciate all the support. And we hope you guys are all doing well during this 2020 year of unusuality. But still, we're all getting more positive each day. And it's hopefully going to be a strong finish of the second half of the year here.
Yeah. Nice.
And you can catch me on Twitch or Twitter or Instagram at Tales of Lance. I'm going to be playing some Iron Man VR probably throughout the week. And I will be probably playing a little bit of baseball. But yeah, you can come hang out with me. Check me out on Twitch at Tales of Lance.
Yes. Yeah. Check that out. It's a lot of fun. I popped in that stream. You see Lance playing the VR too. So he's got the headset. You see him moving around the room. It is a lot of fun.
It's so awesome.
That's right here. Everyone's telling me this is one of the most awesome things playing the Iron Man. It really.
I know we want to save this for probably another stream, but I literally got chills playing it. Like
really? Wow. Yeah. That was so freaking awesome.
But thank you all for taking the time to listen. We love you. Be safe, and we'll catch you all next week.
Have a good week.